Hi there, Joe Welch is here, and today we've got a real treat for you. We're diving into two of our top 23-foot models, the Airstream Tradewind and the Airstream Flying Cloud. Now, both of these beauties have unmistakable Airstream quality behind them, but each is designed with a different kind of adventure in mind. I'm going to walk through a technical deep dive into all the key features, everything from towing capacity and the power systems to the comfort and style packed into each of these two models. We'll talk about what makes the Tradewind behind me perfect for the off-grid explorers and why the Flying Cloud is a favorite for folks looking for comfort and flexibility on the road. By the end, you'll have a solid understanding of which one's right for you. So whether you're looking to head out into the wild or set up at a cozy campground, let's get to it and see if you're a Tradewind adventurer or a Flying Cloud camper at heart. So to begin, we're going to talk about exterior features that are the same on the fantastic Flying Cloud here and the terrific Tradewinds. So things that you're going to get on both of these units are a manual zip-T awning, and this is actually going to be the same construction or similar construction on your rear window awning and the side window awning that is going to be standard on both of these, the Flying Cloud and the Tradewinds. You're also going to have manual stabilizer jacks, and as I always say, stabilizer jacks are really just to firm up the corners of the unit when you get to your campground. The thing to keep in mind is these guys might see slightly different campgrounds, and that's why they're equipped with a few more differences. Little things like the edge banding on the Tradewinds is gray to kind of set it apart in the line because it has very different systems as far as the electric capabilities and the off-road capabilities, which is what we see right here. So here we have different Goodyear Wrangler tires than you'll see on the rest of the Airstream line. We're typically going to see Goodyear Endurance tires, and the key differences you'll see is these are almost like off-road tires. They've got beefy lugs on the tread here for gripping and going off-road. There's actually a little bit of height we get just out of using these tires, but also we get more height from the 3-inch lift from Dexter. And these differences make it so this trailer can go more places off the beaten path and just has more ground clearance underneath. Another notable difference between these two 23-foot Airstreams is that the Flying Cloud will be significantly lighter. 500 pounds on tongue weight in the front end of the Flying Cloud and about 5,000 pounds overall. The Tradewinds, on the other hand, is 600 pounds on tongue weight in the front and 5,650 pounds overall. And that's base weight, that's just the LP filled and batteries on board, but it's also important to note that the Flying Cloud can carry more weight than the Tradewinds. In overall cargo carrying capacity, the Tradewind is actually less than the Flying Cloud, meaning there's 100 pounds more that you can put into your Flying Cloud. So in overall cargo carrying capacity, we're roughly 680 on the Flying Cloud and 580 on the Tradewind. And that 100 pounds could be the difference of your most favorite item. It could be a deep fryer or a pressure cooker or just something heavy that you also want to bring along on your trip. So these little things do make a big difference. Another thing that is both the same and different between the Flying Cloud and the Tradewinds here is that they both do have, at least in the Flying Cloud, you have the option for lithium from the factory, but with the Tradewind you have lithium batteries standard, and quite a bit of them. For the Flying Cloud, if you option the lithium, they're going to be located right up front here behind your propane tanks. However, on the Tradewinds, if you were to look in that same battery compartment on your front end here, has become storage because the batteries are actually located in one of the metal enclosures underneath the trailer. This one, to be specific. So on both units, we're going to have a 37-gallon gray, a 37-gallon fresh, and a 17-gallon Blackwater tank, just for the commode in the rear of the unit. So on the Tradewinds, there's this one metal enclosure in the very front, and this is where the battery pack lives on the Tradewinds. In amp hour capacity, the Tradewinds has an impressive 810 amp hours of battery power. The 200 amp hours that are optional on the Flying Cloud won't do the same things because there's only a 2,000 watt inverter on board and there is a 3,000 watt inverter running a lot of the systems in the Tradewinds actually. Another notable difference is there's an option for solar. With the Flying Cloud, you can get about 300 watts on the roof, but the Tradewinds will come standard with 500 watts of solar power to recharge that battery pack. There's a lot of other cool appliances that I want to talk about when I get inside these units, and there's things that are the same and a few things that are different as well. Now, talking about the things on the inside, we're now inside a 23 Flying Cloud, and the first thing that's the same is the floor plan. We've got the dinette right here that makes into a bed, pretty easy as well. Across from a wraparound dinette, we have a 12-volt fridge. We've got a oven as well as a stove top and the vents, just like in the larger units. Very nice farm-style sink, large. Cabinets and finishes are going to be a little different. We are in the Seattle Mist. The Carolina Clay is also available for the Flying Cloud. And the good thing about the 23 floor plan is it takes advantage of the rear, making this very nice separate bath that's not in the center of the unit. Another thing worth mentioning is the Flying Cloud can be optioned with solar, and it does have a 2,000 watt inverter on board. Now, these systems are going to be different on the Tradewinds and worth talking about. It's also worth mentioning though that this does have a lithium compatible converter from the factory. One small difference in appliances that you might see if you get a Flying Cloud is the Girard on-demand water heater. You're going to see a Nautilus or a Suburban IW60 on the Tradewinds, and you'll just see one vent pipe like this on the exterior of the Airstream, and we'll show you that on the Tradewinds and talk more about it. There's benefits to both systems. So you'll find small differences in fit and finishes as far as things like coat hooks, hat racks, maybe some of the handles here and there. Also, it's worth mentioning that the twin setup we have here with the 80 by 35 inch setup is also available in the Queen, the 75 by 60 inch setup. And that's also available in the Flying Cloud. There's also nice little touches in the Flying Cloud like soft close cabinets, and I'll show you some of the difference in the Tradewinds so you can compare the two. Stepping into the Tradewinds, you can see right off the back some fundamental differences like the coloring of our cabinetry here. We have river oak with the Tradewinds lined, and in the cushions and with the linens here, you'll see this is the fieldstone option. You can also get the terracotta option if that suits you better. There's also very subtle differences, like we still have wonderful soft close cabinets, but we do have a latch that's going to deter this from opening when you're traveling down the road or off-roading with your Tradewinds. There's also little subtle things like different hardware on cabinets or drawers here, and nice little touches like rubberized coatings on our coat hangers. Otherwise, fundamentally, inside things are about the same, but the big and special difference here is our inverter and our solar is all going to be controllable from this Touch Plus display here. As I already mentioned, you can option things like solar or lithium on your Flying Cloud, but the Tradewinds will come standard with 500 watts of solar on the roof, a 3,000 watt inverter, which can even run the AC in this unit, and 810 amps of battery power in that pan underneath the floor here. So anything we want to monitor as far as on our solar or on our battery side, our DC side of things, I can do that all from the Touch Plus display here, as well as check really helpful things like history and see my incoming output from things like solar if I'm plugged in. If I was going to plug into my truck and be driving down the road, this has a red arc DC to DC converter through the 7-way, so I can also charge from my truck, and I can monitor that via the shunt installed in the Victron app. And all these things really set this unit apart and make it a very special addition to the Airstream lineup. So Airstream is already known for fantastic quality with both their cabinetry and the hardware and appliances that they utilize. With this new unit, you can really see that little intent that they made with this wonderful option of the river oak and the way it contrasts these solid grays. It really feels like that cabin that you can have out in the woods for a very long time sufficiently on its own, which is what this unit is meant to do. With the Flying Cloud line, you can see it's kind of more geared towards families and campgrounds and looking kind of like that beautiful beach house on wheels that you've always wanted. All right, folks, well, that just about wraps up our deep dive into the 2025 Airstream Tradewind and Flying Cloud. I hope this helped you figure out which Airstream best matches your style, whether you're craving off-grid adventures with the Tradewind or a campground comfort with the Flying Cloud. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell so that you never miss an update. We've got plenty more Airstream insights and walkthroughs coming your way, so stay tuned. And if you have questions or you want to see these models up close, come visit us here at Colonial Airstream. As always, thank you for watching, and as always, happy travels.